Ladies and gentlemen, I come to you today with a message that will shake the very foundations of falsehood. You see, the truth has a way of pressing on a man's soul until he cannot hold it in any longer. There comes a moment when the burden of deceit becomes unbearable, when the weight of guilt presses down so hard that a man will break, confess, and beg for release. Ladies and gentlemen, I come before you today with a message that cuts through the noise of deception, a message that speaks to the very core of human nature. You see, no man can escape the weight of truth. It does not bow, it does not retreat, and it does not compromise. A man may try to outrun it, he may try to bury it beneath layers of denial, but the truth has a way of catching up, of pressing down so heavily that he can no longer bear its weight. It is an unstoppable force, a power so great that when confronted with it, a man will beg for mercy, cry out for relief, and admit everything he has tried so desperately to hide. There is something about the truth that shakes a man's soul. It is relentless. It does not rest. It lingers in the quiet moments, whispering in the stillness, stirring in the depths of his conscience. He may put on a strong face, he may pretend to be unaffected, but deep within there is a war raging, a war between the truth he knows and the lies he has told. And make no mistake, my friends, that war cannot be won with deception. No man has ever conquered his conscience through denial. No man has ever silenced the truth by refusing to speak it. The truth does not ask for permission, it demands to be heard. You see, when a man is confronted with truth, he is faced with a choice. Either he surrenders to it, or he is crushed beneath it. And the longer he resists, the heavier it becomes. Have you ever seen a man weighed down by guilt? Have you ever watched as his confidence crumbles, as his strength fades, as his spirit weakens under the burden of his own dishonesty? It is only a matter of time before his knees buckle, before the pressure becomes too great, before he can no longer hold it in. And when that moment comes, when the truth finally breaks through, there is no more pretending, no more hiding, there is only confession. But I tell you this, truth is not meant to destroy a man, but to free him. Yes, it will bring him to his knees. Yes, it will strip away the lies, expose the secrets, and lay bare the things he never wanted to reveal. But it does not do so to punish. It does so to cleanse. Because the truth, as heavy as it may be, is also the key to redemption. When a man admits everything, when he lets go of the weight he has carried for so long, he finds something he never expected. Relief. He finds that the very thing he feared, the very thing he ran from, was the thing that would set him free. And so I say to you today, do not fear the truth. Do not run from it. Do not hide behind falsehoods, thinking that they will protect you. Because deception is a prison, but truth is the doorway to freedom. Stand in it, speak it, and when the moment comes when the weight of truth bears down, do not resist. Let it do its work. Let it refine. Let it cleanse. Because in the end, no man can stand against the force of undeniable truth. There is something undeniable about the power of truth. It does not weaken, it does not waver, and it does not fade with time. A man may think he can bury it, that he can cover it with layers of excuses, but truth is not something that can be hidden. It lingers in the back of the mind, in the quiet hours of the night, in the moments when he is alone with his thoughts. It speaks in the stillness, reminding him of what he has tried to forget. No matter how strong a man appears, no matter how convincing his words, the truth is a force greater than any willpower, and it will press upon him until he cannot carry it any longer. There comes a time when the weight of deception becomes unbearable, when the burden of unspoken truths presses so heavily on a man's soul that he reaches his breaking point. He may try to resist, he may try to hold it in, but guilt is a relentless companion. It gnaws at him, drains him, weakens him from the inside out. He may put on a front, he may act as if nothing is wrong, but inside the battle rages on. And the longer he fights it, the more exhausted he becomes. There is no escaping it. The truth will always demand to be heard, and the more he struggles against it, the harder it presses upon him, until one day when he can fight it no more, he will break under its weight. But this breaking is not the end, it is the beginning. Because there is something about confession that changes everything. A man who has carried the burden of deception for too long will reach a moment when the pressure is too great, when he can no longer stand against it. And in that moment, the walls he has built will come crashing down. The truth he has tried to suppress will rise to the surface. He will no longer have the strength to hold it in, and what once seemed impossible, to admit, to confess, to face reality, will become inevitable. He will beg for relief, he will cry out for release, and he will surrender to the truth that he can no longer deny. And when that moment comes, everything will change. Because the power of truth is not just in its ability to expose, but in its ability to set free. When a man finally speaks the truth, when he lets go of the weight he has carried, he will find something he never expected. Peace. The very thing he feared, the very thing he ran from, will be the thing that brings him relief. The chains of deception will fall away, and for the first time in a long time, he will feel light, unburdened, free. But make no mistake, this is not an easy road. It takes courage to face the truth. It takes strength to stand in it. And there will be those who try to avoid it, who try to resist it, who think they can escape its reach. But the truth does not let go. It will follow a man wherever he goes, pressing upon him, weighing him down, until the moment comes when he can fight no longer. And when that moment comes, when he is finally ready to admit what he has been running from, he will find that the truth was never his enemy, it was his salvation. There is a force in this world that no man can escape, no matter how strong, no matter how determined. It is not bound by time, nor does it weaken with distance. It lingers in the depths of the mind, pressing, waiting, calling out. That force is truth. A man may try to deny it, he may attempt to suppress it, but the truth will not stay. It rises, it presses, it moves through the cracks of deception like water through stone. It does not need to shout, for its presence alone is enough to shake a man to his core. No one can stand against it for long, because the weight of truth is greater than the strength of any man. There is a burden that comes with deception, an invisible weight that only grows heavier with time. A man who carries secrets carries chains, whether he realizes it or not. He walks through life thinking he is free, thinking he has control, but deep inside something gnaws at him. At first it is subtle, a whisper in the quiet, a restless feeling that won't quite fade, but the longer he ignores it, the louder it becomes. It robs him of peace, drains him of energy, and keeps him looking over his shoulder. He may smile, he may put on a show, but within he is weary, and that weariness will only grow, because the weight of unspoken truths is not a burden the soul was meant to carry. And so the moment will come when he can bear it no longer. He may fight it, he may try to resist, but the truth is relentless. It will press upon him inch by inch until he reaches his breaking point. And when that moment arrives, the walls will come crashing down. His voice will crack, his knees will buckle, and the weight that he has carried for so long will finally overtake him. He will beg for release. He will cry for relief. And he will confess what he thought he could hide forever, because no man can hold back the tide of truth when it comes rushing in. But the breaking is not the end, it is the beginning. The moment a man speaks the truth, the chains fall. The burden that once seemed impossible to lift disappears in an instant. The pressure that consumed him is gone, replaced by something he never expected. For the very thing he feared, the very thing he ran from, is what finally sets him free. And though he may have thought confession was weakness, he will realize it is the first moment of true strength. Because a man is never stronger than when he stands in truth. Yet there are those who will still resist, those who believe they can outrun what is inevitable. They think they can silence the truth, that if they bury it deep enough, it will never rise. But the truth is not something that can be destroyed. It is not fragile. It is not weak. It is patient. It will wait. and the longer it waits, the heavier it becomes, until at last the day comes when it cannot be ignored any longer, and on that day no force in this world will be able to hold it back. So let it be known, the truth is not your enemy, it is your salvation. It is not a weapon meant to destroy you, but a light meant to free you. And when the moment comes, when the weight of deception becomes too great, do not run, do not resist, surrender to truth, and in that surrender you will find the very thing your soul has been longing for. Peace.